and what we should do going forward.
Right. Well, in California, we live in what's called an at-will state. And so that means that employers at will, at their own discretion, can require employees to do certain things in order to continue work. And in this day and climate, top of mind is whether employees have to take the vaccine either to continue working or to return work. And because most employees are at will, with the exception of union employees, like we see in the discussion with our teachers now through LAUSD and other districts, most employers can require employees to take the vaccine to return or continue to work. The big question is, will they?
Okay, so with that, going forward, let's say someone's watching us who is not necessarily in a union, and I'll ask about the unions in just a little bit. So someone who's not in a union, what are their rights when they report to work? And does it have to do with a particular job that they have, whether or not it's considered high risk?
Well, there are primarily two exceptions to the requirement that employees be vaccinated. One is if you have a medical condition that require where you need authorization from your doctor to be vaccinated or to be exempt from the vaccination, that could serve as a reason not to be vaccinated. And then other employees may have what we call sincerely held religious beliefs, where based on their religious beliefs, they do not believe in vaccines, their religions prohibit them from getting vaccines. And if they can establish that they are part of a true religion that has this sincerely held belief, then that could be an exception to getting the vaccine. But outside of that, employers, especially employees that work in high-risk safety environments such as healthcare, the grocery industry, and other industries, employers definitely can require it. But what I'm hearing is that although employers can require it, many of them are really taking this step by step and looking at a balanced approach where they determine who absolutely needs the vaccine and who perhaps maybe they can allow to continue to work from home or offer other accommodations outside of mandating that employees take the vaccine.
So Angela, what do you say to someone who wants to report to work but doesn't necessarily want to get the vaccine, not because they're hesitant, but rather just because they're because they are hesitant and they're just worried. And the other thing is maybe they go home to a spouse who has an underlying health condition and so they don't want to necessarily get vaccinated. What do you say to them?
Right. Well, if they don't fall into either of those two exceptions, either high risk from a health perspective, or ask them to talk to their human resources department or to their manager or supervisor, owner of the company, to see if there is an exception for them and to see if the employer can work with them to either work from home or provide some other accommodation.
Okay, and I know your signal is a little shoddy here. It's kind of in and out, but I have to ask you this one question because the big development is with LAUSD and some of these teachers. The threshold COVID cases, obviously that's good news, is that it's so low now that schools feel safer to open up. But tell me about these, what rights teachers have, because they're part of a union and really the union does all the negotiating. So what rights do they have if they don't necessarily want to get vaccinated or they don't want to go back into the classroom?
Well, as you stated, first, because they are part of the union, requiring teachers and other staff that are part of unions to be vaccinated first has to be negotiated through their union. And we see that actively happening with LAUSD now. The UTLA that represents teachers, they are actively negotiating with the district to say, if you're going to require our teachers to return to the classroom, not only do we require them to be vaccinated, those that choose to get the vaccination, but there are many other requirements we're asking to make sure that our teachers are going to be safe and protected in the work environment. So that's the biggest difference